in schools predominantly. Uh-oh, I need to plug in. We were thinking I could do without plugging in the power, but sometimes it just kind of drops off if I don't use it. So we just have to unplug the camera, plug in the power. So on your website, on your school website, which on a slide I'll show you, there's 2 handout packages for you. So there's the PowerPoint PDF that everything that I'm going to show you is on a handout. And there's also something called the Tech Toolkit. And the Tech Toolkit has literally, 75 tools that you might be able to use in order to work on this education piece and this support of our children in learning more about how, the negative impact of screens. One of those is the Unplugged brochure, which is something that can go home to parents. It can be handed out at an IEP meeting. We had this custom talk about screens. It was identified that your son, is pretty much, gaming, or your daughter is pretty much in social media from the time they get home till, you go to bed. I've noticed your kids falling asleep in class. They're having a lot of problems with behavior and moods, and we're thinking that this is due to overuse of screens. So what can we do about that? So there's conversational guidelines in there for teachers, how to talk to your class about screens. You say this, you ask that, show of hands, how many kids are, taking screens in their bedroom or have a big screen in their bedroom. It's eye-opening and mind-boggling when you start asking your class these questions. You'll be stunned, especially the little guys. How many kids are using Fortnite in grade K and grade 1, a lot of Fortnite. So there's a lot of information in there that you can use, and I suggest just kind of going through it, not printing the whole thing off, but saving the trees. That's why I'm not handing handouts, here, because there's just really too many handouts, right? So sorry, I can't do this and talk at the same time. It's really hard to multitask. We're going to actually talk about that this afternoon. So this morning, it's really about looking at how much are kids using, what are the experts recommending, and then talking about the research. So we're gonna first profile what are the 4 critical factors that children need to grow and succeed. Because what we want to do is we want to balance screens with healthy activity. So I want to just review what is healthy activity. What does that mean? What do kids really need to grow and succeed? And this afternoon is actually all about how do we get more of that, right? So talking screen reduction is very punitive, it's very top-down, it's very, authoritative. What I encourage parents and teachers to do is talk to their class, make it a democratic process, right? And we want to include them in this whole process. We want to pick out the ringleaders who we think are going to be their models and give them more information, see if we can enact, a change to move off the screens. So then this afternoon is initiatives, and it's a big blitz. I already did a walk about your school, or to the playground, got some ideas, talked to Tammy, all excited, because this is, it really is about building capacity for alternate activities. Unfortunately, many of our kids, they have very poor motor coordination, they're very developmentally delayed, they've got more, low attention spans. How do we deal with that, right? We get them outside, we get them moving more. And so we're going to reflect back on my biological background. I'm a medical professional, my child development background to promote brain and body health and wellness. Slide, you'll see on the slides, some of the slides, there's a bunch of research references down at the bottom. Other slides don't have research references. So when there are research references and you want to look them up, go to my website, SoNCA, there's a fact sheet on there that has literally over 400 research references, but they're all organized, it's taken years, into topics, right? So academic performance is one of the topics, and the research is all collated at the back alphabetically, or the researchers are all collated at the back alphabetically. If a slide doesn't have research, this came up last night when the parents asked me this, then what you're looking at is not necessarily my opinion, but my experience of 35 years in schools, as well as 20 years of doing this type of work. So I try to, it just sounds repetitive if I keep saying, well, this isn't research, this is my opinion, So anyway, just to let you know, when I start, when there's something like this slide here, you see the research is at the bottom. You can look those up. I'm pretty much quoting research, right? So I pose to you now, and then 4:30 this afternoon, we'll kind of go back to this. Are the ways in which we're raising and educating kids with screens sustainable? Are we creating a child who is going to finish high school, who is going to be literate when they finish high school, literate to the point where they can actually, get a job? Are they going to get a job? Are they going to have a relationship, a functional relationship with a partner? Are they going to produce functional kids? Are they going to be healthy? The level of screens that we're using and the content, so the narrations of the content today is showing us something else. So we're really kind of worried about children today. The other thing I do is I don't need all the bullets. I might pull out 1 or 2 of the bullets. So the bullets are just to support what I'm saying. I find that very boring. I'm going to tell you, we're talking people to read the bullets. I think I can read the bullets. So anyway, don't feel that you're missing something. When you download this, you can go through and read it like a book. That's the way I set up the slide decks. They're kind of like a book. They tell a story, and I'm here to give you the pieces that aren't on the slides, right? The whole picture, so to speak. So just that last bullet there, the New England Journal of Medicine in 2012 said, due to the obesity rates alone, we're seeing the first generation of children leave if they want to outlive their parents. So obesity is a killer. 1 in 4 children have obesity or they're overweight, and that dramatically affects their life in the realm of cardiovascular health, but also diabetes. A third of those children will go on to get diabetes, which knocks literally 10 years off their life, right? Early onset diabetes. So we really are in a bit of a crisis state right now, and these are the main concerns by the medical community that we're seeing Millennium Children, we're seeing a lot of developmental issues. So fine motor, gross motor, speech, cognition, social. Kids coming into school that are not ready yet to be in school. Not toilet trained. Oh my gosh, seriously, when we're in school, certain records I've never seen the level of delay that we're seeing today. So a UBC study of UC Manitoba found that 1 in 3 are coming in delayed, right? So if you're in the primary grades, you've got a big problem on your plate right there, right? So think of the gap of, that you have to address, right? Mental illness is a growing problem, depression, anxiety, especially in teens. Suicide rates doubled. If a child uses over 7 hours a day of screens, the suicide rate doubles, right? So we're into some very serious problems, a lot of sleep deprivation. Obviously, if they're coming to school sleep deprived, they're not going to be able to pay attention and learn. Producing more problematic behaviors. So many kids don't have rules at home around screens, and that's one of the biggest issues. Many of the kids are using at night. And that's a great question. When I do my tech talks in the classroom, I'll say, so, I make it all kind of fun. They don't know who I am, right? So I'm like, I'm here to talk about screens. What are screens? And you make sure they identify the screens. And then, so what do you guys do when you get home from school? What do you do before dinner? And do you guys have dinner at a table like this? Or do you do it in front of the TV? And it's all show of hands, right? And then, after dinner, and then before bed, and then this is the big one. Who needs to take a screen into their bedroom? Or who has a screen in their bedroom? That's right there is the biggest issue, right, that you've got going on. So how much are kids using, and what are the experts recommending? So this is entertainment only, right? So this is entertainment screens that they're doing at home. This has nothing to do with what's going on in the school. So our little guys, 0 to 2s, 2.5 hours a day. Our kind of 3 to 5s are the 4.5. This will keep going up, right? So our 6 to 12s are 7.5. Our teens are 9. And guess what? You guys are. So 11 hours a day is the average adult usage of entertainment-based screen. So that has nothing to do with work. We're talking Facebooking. On average, employees use Facebook an hour a day at work. On average, right? Think of that in the realm of productivity. So you're texting, you might be texting parents, but there's a text from my kid, or so we're all into it, in a very heavy level. So what we need to think about is, what is not going on when we're on our screens 11 hours a day? Like, what are we not doing very well, right? So we've gone very, very quickly in the last decade, since the onset of the handhelds, right? So the cell phones and the tablets, we've moved from being active to being very sedentary. And then sometimes we look at our kids and we go, gosh, we're on the ground. Why can't you just sit still? Here, you guys can watch a movie during lunch. Oh, it's a little cold out. Sure, you can watch a movie during gym. I've even had gym teachers showing a movie in gym, right? I'm just kind of thinking, whoa. So we really have to rethink the whole screen thing when we look at this, right? So everything we use in the school is on top of this, right? So this is something that we have to just take into consideration. And I'm not saying don't use screens in schools, obviously, but a lot of education, kids don't know, parents don't know. We have to tell them about the things that I'm going to tell you about this afternoon today. So the experts are, yeah?
Can I ask you a question about that previous slide?
Yeah.
When you're giving those numbers, I see down the bottom, and I understand how you're posting your documentation. Is that Canada? Common Sense Media is Canada. So
I'm glad you brought this up. This is a compilation of, so Common Sense Media, Kaiser Foundation, Pagani, Christakis are all America, like they're all US big kind of studies. So I do quote US studies and I quote Canada studies, and if I were to every slide say this is US, this is Canada, like some of the Canadian studies are not near as large, and they're not near as we're behind in the US considerably, right, in data collection. So there are a few studies that have looked at a few of these age ranges, but not all of these age ranges. This is the other thing too, is when I put up a slide like this, I'm quoting multiple different studies. There isn't one study that shows us all of this, right? These are multiple different studies. So I would say probably 75% of what you're going to see is US. You might not even assume it's US, but we're fairly close when we look at some of the work that does come out of Canada, some of the research that comes out of Canada. We're fairly close. We're not like massively less or massively more. Yeah.
I just wondered if you could give a little bit more information about where that statistic of the screening for adults comes from. I can't see the single, but I just don't know how personal to use that.
Yes.
Where did that come from? That's worse or an average?
Think of how many times it used to be. I don't really even know the current stat. It used to be adults check their phones about 100 times a day, right? And I know that that's fairly old. I think that was 2015 or something. So we check our phone a lot. And if you add all that up, plus you add up nighttime when you watch Netflix or so that does seem like a lot, but that's come since the media in 2015. Found that, and that's fairly that has been replicated by another group down in the States. So we're looking at a fair amount of screens are on board that are kind of clouding up our brains. So what are the experts saying? They're saying 0 to 2 is nothing, and I'll explain why on the next slide regarding brain development. 3 to 5 is an hour a day, it just goes up. And then teens 3 hours a day. So not more than is what they're saying. So this is a good message to schools, is these are our American Academy of Pediatrics, Canadian Pediatric Society are all in collusion on these recommendations. We don't want to be going over that in schools, right? When we look at kids are overusing 3 to 4 times this amount, right? So already, by the time they show up on your doorstep. So again, just keeping that in mind. The brain is amazing, as is the body, in its ability to adapt to its environment. So this is the brain, the job of the brain, is to adapt to the environment and be very efficient, right? It likes to be efficient. So when an infant's born, they're born with their full complement of neurons. So all the tracks are there. It's like a big road map. There's roads that go to every part of the brain when the infant's born. When, by the time they reach the age of like 70 or 80, 2/3 of those roads are going to be pruned. And that's based on what they do, right? So the brain wires itself based on what we do. So if we do a lot of healthy activity and diverse activities, and we've got a lot of different interests, and we're active in sports, and we've got lots of friends, we have a very diverse proliferation of neurons. We're not going to see pruning to any one area of the brain because we're using the whole brain. So what we're seeing now is heavy screen use, and I'll show you some of the MRI data, is we're seeing children who use over the 4 hours a day, about 4 hours a day, we're seeing pruning of tracks to the frontal lobes. So think about that. The frontal lobe is what you need, right? Memory, concentration, attention, impulse control, massive need impulse control in the classroom. That's all frontal lobe. It's our executive function. It's what separates us from lower life forms. So this is something that is very, very important to understand, is that the diversity is good. Doing different things is good. Getting kids up out of their seats, interacting with each other is all good. That's going to create a really healthy brain. So what this slide shows is that when a child's 5, a lot of their brain is what we call plastic, right? So it's just still laying down all the interconnection. There's also a proliferation of neurons in the brain. So synaptic connections that form in between those big tracts. So the proliferation grows as the child grows, and the pruning of the long tracts happens as the child grows. So when they're 5, still fairly plastic. So the blue is hardwired. When they reach about 12, they're about 50-50. So a 12-year-old is kind of half hardwired, half plastic. And then as they age, the 20, 25-year-olds are, pretty much hardwired. So what we do early on is very crucial. We want to give those early brains more diversity than, and more kind of we'll talk about movement and how that impacts on the brain as well. So this is something too that every child is different, every brain is different. And we need to consider that when we're using screens in schools, right? So we might have a child we might have a set of twins, and one twin is, you say turn that thing off, we're going to go outside to recess, and they do, and the other twin's like, no, I want you with me, I want to stay in recess, I want to do my thing, So children are different, so when we start thinking about content and duration and age of first use of screens, we really have to, these guidelines that I'm going to present are, we have to be a little bit fluid on those, right? Looking at, the difference of all the kids. So what I propose is that we want to balance screens with healthy activity. So it's not so much about taking the screens away, it's about giving them something. And this is the thing, many of our kids use screens to escape. We all use screens to some degree to escape from whatever it is, right? That's what, when we go home and we grab the remote or we grab the phone or we sit down at our computer, ask yourself, just to figure this out, why am I doing this? Why am I not being in with my family, What is it that I'm looking for here? What is it that why am I here? And I'm not somewhere else, right? So, kids who overuse have parents who overuse, obviously. And generally, those kids have parents who are neglecting them to some degree, right? So do we want to be punitive and take something away from them? No. We want to give them something. We want to give them more exciting, interesting things to do other than screens. And I tell you, that is a question I ask every one of my kids. What would make you put down the game console and go outside and play? What would make you put down the cell phone and go outside, right? And do something that was more healthy. So when we're building or growing a child, it's kind of like building a house. So there's foundations. This is a hierarchical foundation for child development. So there's 4 critical components that children need. And this is what I really encourage teachers to think about when they've got a class that's erupting with like tons of energy, or you're seeing a very sleepy class. Try to think back to my triangle. And I have this printed out on cards just to kind of as a reminder for people, like you can grab a card, or if you want the graphics, just let me know. I can email you the graphics if you want to use those as a handout for the kids. They're also on the front of the tech toolkit. So thinking about going back and giving them some of this stuff at the bottom, right? So movement, touch, and connection nature. This is what we really need to create a sustainable child, to grow a sustainable child. This is the foundation. So think back to the brain slides. You want to give them lots of this at the beginning, and not, they don't need quite as much at the end. But we all benefit from these 4 things, right? So movement, touch, connection, nature. And those 4 things are grossly limited by screens. So this is something to think about, is when you use screens in schools, think about, is this really the best thing that it can be doing? So here's an example. You give everyone an iPad, you guys are going to all sit with the iPad in your face, but I'm going to give you guys just one. And I'm just going to give you guys one, right? And I want you guys all to stand. You can walk up tables, get them up and standing, so we're activating your brain a bit more. And now you have to figure out how you're going to do this project that I've just given you, right? So you have to talk to each other. So building up the social is really, really important when we're working with kids. So this is something that we'll head through each of these levels. And I'm going to talk about each one of these things for a couple minutes, just to give you a grounding of what is it that I'm talking about when I talk about movement, touch, and connection, and nature. So movement is a really simple concept. If you can advice, they sit, take it away, get up, start to move around, right? So there are times when we want our kids to sit, but it's not the best thing for our high users of screens who are falling asleep. You know, if we put a child who's really low arousal state because they've been up late at night, or they've been on social media, then we're not really, that's not the best thing for them. So Canada teamed up with the National Institute of Health and the states and came up with these guidelines, the movement guidelines. So again, the medical communities are very concerned about the effects of our sedentary society. And so what I just want to do is show you kind of what they all agreed on. So we should be sweating 60 minutes a day. That means heavy cardiovascular. That's running, climbing. Any heavy work is going to make us sweat. And that's predominantly the heart, right? So we should be up and moving around at least 2 hours a day. So in addition to our studying of an hour a day, we should be moving around. And if you jump to the last one, less than 2 hours a day is sitting. So if you kind of think about, you've got up for how much? 6 or 6.5 hours a day? Yeah. So that means about 2/3 of their day, they should actually be up and doing something. So that right there is, you know, and I'm dumping this all on you guys, okay? Because there's a large percentage of our kids who are overusing and who have parents who are overusing. We can dump it back on them and say, well, you're the parent, you should be getting that hour of cardio in a day in 2 hours. But we know that's not going to happen, right? So we can educate the parent, we can give them a brochure, we can talk to them in IEP. But if we know it's not going to happen, then you know, we should probably be doing some of this in the classroom, right? And sleep is obviously a home-based initiative. So we think of movement often just with the cardiovascular benefits of movement, but as an occupational therapist who is a development expert, is what happens when we move is we activate core, right? So anytime I move off my center, there's a system in the brain called the vestibular system, and it says set core, come back to core. And when I get strong core, then I can coordinate the muscles of both sides of my body, my upper lower body, but also, really important for school, my eye can talk to my hand when I have strong core, and my eyes can talk to each other. So visual motor for printing, ocular motor coordination for reading, so I can locate, track, dislocate, track. That all is secondary to core. So when we have what I call shrinking kids, you know, who are locked over the desk, you know, we watch them walking down the hall, or they're sliding along the hall, or they're just slumpy, they've got really poor tone. Their motor coordination is going to be affected, and they're going to have a much harder time continuing. And that's one of the biggest things I'm seeing with the sedentary. Yeah. So, you know, one of the I quoted down here, John Ratty wrote a book called Spark, and it's loaded with data for schools on the very thing you're talking about using movement. And, you know, like, so kids can pay attention about a minute per year of age on a requested task, right? They can play forever. They have attention that lasts forever, whether you're doing Lego or something else, right? But if we think of a 7-year-old, so we got a little grade 1, we can really expect about 7 minutes of sustained attention, and then they need a break, right? So attention restorative theories, Kaplan's attention restorative theories, really don't spread that at all. They say teach, take a break, teach, take a break. Because, like right now, I'm taxing your attention, and I'm looking out there, and I'm seeing the majority of you are like this, right? But this afternoon, probably half of you are like, right? If I just stood up here and talked, and especially if I had kind of a low energy state, I'm talking like this for long periods, okay, turn your page around like that, I'm going to lose you guys, right? So let's say you're 25, I know I can get about 25 minutes out of you, and then we're going to get out and do something, right? So, it just doesn't, I don't think there's any data that really supports that. So the other things, so there's motor coordination stuff. There's also spatial concepts that happen when we move through the 3D world. When we're outside, we're throwing a baseball, that are really applicable to math. So, math is three-dimensional. It's not that we memorize that that's a 2, and that's a 2, and that equals that symbol 4. We really have to have a concept of 2, right? You see kids all the time. You see kids in grade 7 counting on their fingers. It's a very 3D issue, and I think we're spending so much time in a 2-dimensional world. Our kids aren't getting the foundational components for math, right? The spatial concepts. They're not getting down young, and then you start building on top of that, and they're kind of confused, right? So attention and learning is better. Mental health is better. So brains light up when you move. So there's a kid sitting, there's a kid that's up. Red is activity. Red is, got a lot of stuff going on up here. So just getting them standing is going to make a huge change in their arousal state, and you're going to get more brain, basically, if you get them up to do their work than if they're sitting. So I want to talk a little bit more about the system and the vestibular system, because I'm a certified sensory integration specialist, so I'm really big on sensory and motor stuff and understanding how you can use those to help your kids. So there's 2 types of movement for you to kind of understand, because when this afternoon we start to talk about interventions, there's going to be 2 types of interventions. So this vestibular system is what you often call it in your ear. It's a series of 3 canals that are located in different planes to pick up movement. And there's fluid in the vestibular system and hair cells that move and activate. And basically when we move off center, so when we're on a swing, you go down a slide, you're spinning, you're jumping up and down, we're activating this vestibular system and it increases arousal. Okay? So this is what we want to do when kids are falling asleep. We want to get that thing going. Think about you're driving, you're falling asleep, you shake the brain has an automatic reflex to jack that, get a stimulus to the vestibular system to wake you up. So vestibular can be used in many different ways, and we're going to do interventions more this afternoon. But our sleepy kids, we want to get them up standing, right? We don't want to leave them in the chair, showing them to death, right? So the second movement-based system is called the proprioceptive system. It's located in our muscles and in our joints, and it's activated with heavy work. So it drains energy. It has a very calming effect when you get kids to do heavy work. So there's lots of different tools we can use, and there's different techniques we can use to activate the proprioceptive system. And because we've been going about that, whatever, 25 minutes, I'm going to get you guys to stand up. I'm going to do a quick, I call it PRO. Proprioceptive is like a big ugly word for everyone how to say it, and like, this is cool. So I got you to stand. Right now you're loading your joints, you're using more muscles, right? You're standing and sitting. So already we should be draining a bit of energy. So we're going to do a little heavy work here. This is a quick classroom technique. So elbows out, shoulders out. We're going to push for the count of like 15. Really hard. Hard as you can. So go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see somebody shaking. 5, 6. Keep shaking. 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be feeling a little bit more calm. 12, 13, 14, 15. Give yourself a little shake. Take a really deep breath. So we're going to smell the flower. Blow out the candle. Okay, so who feels just a little more, I don't know, here, present, like, anybody? So about, a third of you maybe. So these techniques that I'll use throughout the day are, again, everyone's different. So were you low arousal when we did this, and now you came into the zone, or were you high arousal and you drop down? Everybody's different, right? So some of these will work for you, some of them won't. Children live in their bodies. So when you use these techniques with kids, they're far more effective than they are with you, who all live in your heads. You guys are not tapped into the body. So like I see some stretching here. So many of you, I find teachers actually are not good sitters. So you have my permission to wander about. You can't talk to each other. So you have my permission to wander about the classroom. If you need to do plank or some push-ups, feel free to do that. Or if you want to push on the wall a little bit, that's fine, right? So I'm just obviously parroting what you can use in the classroom. So go ahead and have a sit if you want to sit, but if that will keep you up a bit and you're falling asleep, or if that drained a bit of energy and you're feeling a little calmer, then carry on. So doubling down on recess. Recess is curriculum, as far as I'm concerned. Recess is going to not only promote physical development for your kids, social development, it's also promoting brain development, and it's restoring attention, right? Recess is crucially important, and what kids do at recess is really important. So I encourage you to read, Google this guy, Stephen C. the current, down in the corner here, Honky, is a principal in a Mac school, who really kind of looked at the research and went, hey, I'm going to do this in my school. So he started, he added a recess, right? They had 2 recesses before, he added a 3rd recess. He gave the recesses titles. He created a rough and tumble play zone where the kids could actually go and do some of the rough and tumble play stuff. So he also found that if you just threw a bunch of stuff out there, loose parts, kids like to put things together, bricks, sticks, whatever, build forts, build little walls. So what he found was really great. Improved attention, improved ability to learn, the grades were better. And then this is the other thing, is I'm going to talk to you about these body breaks, right, that you do every 20 minutes or whatever in your classroom. They end up being less of that, right? So in the classroom, they come into the classroom and learn. Instead of having to dig around with all this stuff I'm going to show you this afternoon, which you can do, but you might want to just consider adding another recess and seeing, measuring something, like attention, behavior, ability to get down and learn. So touch. Touch is absolutely crucial. It's a biological need that we're not touching each other enough. We're not touching babies enough. We're not touching little kids. We put them in strollers. We put them in bucket seats. We put them in backpacks. We're not cuddling them anymore. We've got all these devices. I saw this one. Oh my gosh! It's like a bassinet that shakes. It vibrates when the baby cries. We should be rocking our babies. So we have many kids who are touch deprived. How do we know? They exhibit anxiety. So our highly anxious kids, who are usually kind of really sensory, hypersensitive, what's going on? You said we're going to do this right after, and it's not, and like that kind of thing, are generally touch deprived. So using touch in ways that calm children can be really, really effective. So I want to show you just one technique. Actually, you can come up and I'll show you. You're the child. So you're very anxious. You're very, upset about something. You're just obsessing about something. And so I put Shauna, would you like a shoulder squeeze? I see you're really upset. Probably not. And this is I love it when you say this is very important because you just heard me ask Shauna if she had a shoulder squeeze, and you're that kind of person who just will try anything, right? So you say, I want a shoulder squeeze, right? So basically you try this with whoever is willing, right? One of those kids who's just totally into this. So watch me do a shoulder squeeze to someone else, and you kind of see that maybe it might be okay. So then I ask you again, so I'll say, well, you're looking upset again. Do you want to try that shoulder squeeze that Susie was fine with? Okay. We have a very, no, I love it when people don't go along with my gig, right? Because this is awesome. Because what it challenges me to do is think as a presenter, think about how we can work this one, right? And this is perfect. No, I can't do that, right? Touch has, we've gone into this no-touch policy thing, and I understand it, right? I understand teachers are victims, it's you've got to protect yourself, right? But rubbing backs is way more intimate than what I'm going to show you, right? So allow me to show you the shoulder squeeze, okay? Well, I appreciate that. So the shoulder squeeze is you ask permission. Would you like? I see is an attachment technique. I see and hear from your voice you're upset. Would you like? She says, no, I respect that. And someone else said, yes, but I ask again, would you like, she says, yes, right? So I position myself to the side, not behind, not in front, right? I'm to the side, and I put my hands on her shoulders, and I keep my genitals away from her, right? This is not a hug, right? This is a shoulder squeeze. So I'm squishing in and down. And then I'm squishing in. This is a shoulder squeeze. How are you feeling?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Do you want me to stop? Okay. So when I stop, I release really, really slowly. Okay? So what I've done, thank you very much. What I've done is I've activated her parasympathetic system to lower adrenaline and cortisol. So if you've got a kid in a sympathetic charged state, fight, flight, or fight, then touch can be really helpful in lowering their energy. So another thing might be just can I hold your hand? You're really upset. Would you like me to hold your hand? So this is something that's not going to be interpreted as a sexualized intervention, right? But I'm trying to touch as much of your skin as I can, and it's fairly firm. So how are you feeling? She feels cuddled, she said. So, would you like me to stop? No, she's okay, so she's nice, right? But, you've got to go. So the release is really, really gentle, right? As opposed to, okay, time to fight, right? I'm creating, so I'm using touch and human connection. So on the triangle, I'm activating two of these components to lower your highly anxious state. The reason why we want to be concerned about this is anxiety is going through the roof in our teen girls. So 52%, this is an Ontario study, 52% of Ontario teens are saying they're in psychological distress, they're either depressed or anxious, right? So we really are in a touch-deprived state with all these devices. We're just not touching each other enough, and it can be really, really an important part of our interventions. So skin is the largest organ in our body. We have a receptor density, like in the size of a loony or a toonie, about the same size, 7,000 tactile receptors. So mechanoreceptors that detect pressure, and temperature, and pain, right? But there's a lot of receptors that we can activate in just the hand. I just touched both sides of her hand, and she said she felt cuddled, right? So it's not that we have to hug their whole body, or there's ways that we can just do a gentle touch on a forearm. If you're really upset, I just put a little pressure on your forearm, and put your hands around your desk, but always ask, right? So it lowers adrenaline and cortisol. So I want to show you some of Harry Carlo's work on touch, just to refresh our knowledge of how important touch is.
Research of Harry Carlo in the 1950s and 60s. By studying young rhesus monkeys known as isolates, who were separated from their mothers, he proved that the psychological and physical need for touch is fundamental.
Harry Carlo, in his research with monkeys, found that infant monkeys that were deprived of maternal care and were reared alone in a cage became psychotic as they developed. And some of his seminal studies, he took 2 mommies for the monkeys. And one mommy was a monkey with a wire cage and a little face, a monkey face. And she was the mom that had little breasts with milk. And up to that time, because Freud, we believed that the baby liked mom because she delivered milk. And so then there was another cloth mother. And he would put these 2 mothers in a cage with a little isolate who had been taken away from his caregiver, his mother. And there'd be a cloth monkey with no milk. And there'd be a wire monkey with milk. And the babies would leave the cloth monkey only if they had to get milk, and then they'd come right back to the cloth monkey. They wanted touch. She was soft. And if they could reach the nipple to drink, they would cling to the cloth monkey and reach to drink, and then come back all the way to the cloth monkey. We have to have touch. One of the most remarkable findings from Harry Harlow's work about touch informs some of what we do with at-risk children. He had what he called peer therapists. So when the isolates from his early research were 6 months of age, he would take them and he'd put them in a column with other monkeys. They couldn't survive, they couldn't make it. So then he would just take them and put them in a cage with age mates. So there were other 6-month-olds who were juveniles in the monkey business. And he would put them in the cage, and those monkeys would want to play. And as soon as they began to touch the isolate would become catatonic. He would freeze, and he would go psychotic. And what they found was that they couldn't introduce the isolate into normal family life. And they discovered that if they would take the isolate at 6 months of age, put him in a cage, take a 3-month-old who's being reared by his mother, they call a peer therapist, and they take the 3-month-old for short periods of time and put him in a cage with the isolate. Well, the isolate would collapse against the wall, would try to escape the little monkey. But ultimately, the little guy wants to be cuddled, and mom's not here to touch me, so buddy, you're going to touch me. The little pure monkey that was 3 months of age would go and cling to the back and begin to groom the isolate. And what Harry Harlow found was that the little peer therapists who played safely and touched could reverse the psychopathology that was induced by deprivation. That's very powerful. Well, from the Harlow study, we apply several findings.
So it's something that we know, and we learned from orphanage studies, and that we really need touch. But it's gotten a bad rap in the schools. And so what I encourage you, if you feel like no, this isn't for me, don't. Right? But if you have a child who's super dysregulated, and very anxious, and really upset, you might want to try a shoulder squeeze and just see the difference and check in with them. You saw how I asked, how are you doing? Well, I don't like that. I went, okay. But she went for it. She experienced it. Maybe tomorrow she might, and then it could turn into like a really effective technique for that particular child, right? So human connection, co-regulation with each other, connection, attachment is crucial. It's the origins of our mental health, right? So disconnection, detachment is the origins of mental illness. And so it's really important. You as the teacher are the most important person in that child's life during that day, right? I told everybody last night, the parents are the most important person in the child. At home, you're the most important person for that child. You might be the only attachment figure this child has in their life, right? So don't underestimate the power of this. I'm listening. I'm here for you when you're ready to do your work. I really am. Don't underestimate that you can be the only person in that child's life. And you all know the children who are detached and dysregulated and are moving away constantly from everybody, right? Running, bolting, leaving the classroom. Those are the kids who actually really need some human connection, right? So again, it's biological need. We're pack animals. We we don't do well when we are isolated from our pack. So your pack is the classroom. Your kids are the pack animals, right? And we want to bring them into the pack. We want to give them jobs and chores and things that make them feel good about, helping the pack. That's as an occupational therapist, occupation is all about purposeful activity. What can I do for you guys in my pack? What can I do to help you out, right? We used to have like farmer families or, First Nations, indigenous families who everybody had a job to do, and if they didn't do their job, their family literally would die, right? And it gives us a sense of meaning and purpose to be doing important things. Our kids are very rarely doing chores at home. Like I talk to parents about that a lot. Like when you give them a chore, it helps them to feel purposeful and meaningful, and it can do a lot, in helping them to feel part of their path, right? So, we want to think about relational learning, and not just instruction, but relational learning. So again, that group thing, every time we put them together in a group, we're expecting them to relate to each other and learn from each other, if they can tolerate it. So back to this 11 hours a day again, is the parents are very disconnected from their kids more than they have ever been. I've never seen such terrible parenting, really, as I see today, such disconnected parenting. Of course, now I see kids who are having issues. And again, I never see a child who has no use issue when there's not a parent that has no use issue, right? So you get parents in, and they can't stay on the phone, right? I'm like, what are you doing? It's so important. I'm here. I came all the way from Seychelles to work with your kid, can you please put that away, right? So this, I'm not going to go through this, but this is the Nielsen studies, talking about, this is 2018 data. What is it that they're doing? And back to your question, what are they doing in this 11-hour day? It kind of breaks it down and kind of shows like what parents are doing. So when a parent detaches from a child, and I'm on my phone, there's a whole thing going on here, social modeling that's going on. The parent, the child's looking at the parent going, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do, is look at my phone, I guess, right? But as well, they're getting something from that phone that they're not getting from the parent, right? They're getting, they have control over what they're watching, they're being entertained, it is a form of attachment. So when we see attachment to devices, we automatically should be assuming that that child has difficulty attaching to humans. So I just want to show you this little video clip of this little baby. That's this. Is soothing with the device, not the parent, right? And that parent kind of thinks it's all very funny and whatever, but it's actually very serious. So what we have going on right now with very, very new early research is this escalation of autism that we're seeing. There's a large group of people that researchers are looking at, is this really autism? Or is this virtual autism? So there's been a turn point in the research called virtual autism, where they're looking at unplugging kids with diagnosed autism, and they're getting better. So we know autism doesn't get better. It's an organic brain disorder, and it does not get better, right? So, but what we're calling autism is a little dubious right now, and the escalating rates of autism are outrageous. Like right now, if we continue to diagnose at the rate we're going, by 2025, 1 in 2 males and 1 in 5 females will have autism, right? So what is this new thing that we're calling autism? Autism is an attachment disorder, it's a social disorder, a communication disorder. So this study looked at infants ages 6 to 18 months and found that that was a critical period for communication. And so the more parent attention they got and the less screen they got during that period, the lower were the rates of PD, developmental disorder, and oppositional defiant disorder. So this is something that's kind of in its infancy. I'm not sure where it's going to be going, but there are teams that are, they're working on this. And I think with autism, the ones that get better, maybe, are having, a reliance on screens. So I just want to show you this still-face experiment that many of you might have already been familiar with, but it shows what happens to the infant, like an 8-month-old infant, when the screen, or not the screen, when the parent goes still-face, right? So the parent's like, yeah, and then the parent goes still-face, and you watch what happens to the child. This is very much what happens when we put a screen in front of our faces. So why am I telling you guys this, you teachers, right? Many of us as teachers have gotten kind of used to having that screen around, and parents are texting us and all this, right? And when the screen goes in front of your face, you are removing yourself as an attachment figure for the child, right? So I just show this to you so that it kind of reminds us how important we are as humans.
Babies this young are extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. And the still-face experiment that the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby, who's about a year of age. And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her. This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this. And then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother better. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, "Come on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
We all feel like that to some degree when our partners or our friends put a phone in front of their face, right? I have this immediate kind of like, I sometimes want to cry, kind of like, because it's an obvious thing of saying I don't really value you. We're having sex. I know it really is very, very powerful when we disconnect. So as teachers, it's the choice of when you use screens and who you use screens with, because these kids with autism are getting screens like crazy. Like, oh, they're not communicating, well, we'll give them a screen. Like it's going to help somehow. I'm going, no. We want to do everything we can do to encourage social communication and connection, right, with these disconnected kids. So I'm just going to show you this cute little, I show you really powerful stuff, and then I show you really cute, silly stuff, right, just to kind of balance out the heaviness of this talk. So I'm just going to show you this little 1 minute video clip, and then we're going to take a break till 1:30. I think. Yeah, we got a 15-minute break. Is that right? Am I on? Oh, 11:30. 11:30. Okay, don't go after this. Okay, this will lighten your spirits a little bit.
Social media is great. It connects you to the world and the people you love. You can chat with your family or share a meal with friends and watch cute little cats do unbelievable things.
Look, she sticks her head out of the box.
Look, she sticks her head out of the box. But there are times when social media can get in the way of the real world. Remember that? It's the thing that happens when you run out of battery. That's why we've developed the Social Media Guard. It takes the social out of media and puts it back into your life. Let's see how it works. The Social Media Guard. Get yours now.
Did that make me feel a little better? Yeah. We're gonna stay fun about this topic because it's pretty heavy. It's hit us hard and fast, like in the last 10 years. You know, we're all wandering around with our phones, and we're all, during the day, and the siege with text for parents and everything else. We're trying to juggle your device, their devices, all the influx of media into the classroom. How do you use it? When do you use it? It's really changed the face of teaching dramatically, right? So the very last of our 4 critical factors, we talked about movement, touch, human connection. Touch and human connection really go together nicely. Again, they're activating the tactile and the attachment systems, right, to help our kids feel more secure and regulated. So our last intervention we can use when our classes are getting all squirrely, the last critical factor is nature. Very underrated. And we have a big issue going on right now where it's just not safe out there. It's not safe. Don't pick up that stick. Don't run. Don't jump. Don't have fun. It's not safe, right? And parents are very worried about what if, right? And so we've got to be very careful. So I wandered around, looked at we've got great playground stuff for about up to grade 2 or 3. But kind of your 7 to 12-year-olds, what's out there for them? And so I often, if I'm hanging at a school for a week, I hang out on the playgrounds all the time and watch what happens. We break in the kids' hit the playground, right? And you can see them, those 7 to 12-year-olds looking around and going, what's here for me? And so this is when bullying happens. If bullying happens when kids are bored, right? We give them challenges and we give them things to do, we give them things to build, and we give them, ways to feel productive, then, we're going to be addressing bullying really quickly. So we can really use nature for many different things. Lot of studies now showing that nature is one of the best attention restorative agents we have. So back to Kaplan's series of attention, teach, take a break, teach, take a break. If you have a room with a view, you are going to have better attention. These are studies showing this. So I always profile, University of Illinois has an amazing nature-based section on their website, and they have a lot of nature-based researchers. So back in 2004, this group found that inner city kids had 3 times the ADHD as rural kids. They went, what? And they did a beautiful study, 9 null hypotheses that they disproved, right? They thought it was, well, they're probably moving more. Rural kids move more, don't they? It was green space. It was access to green space was attention restorative. They did a number of other studies to quantify, well, how much do they need 20 minutes a day to significantly improve their attention, right? So, class day outside, another recess. How can you optimize this knowledge now and use it to your benefit to enhance attention? So when you start seeing that energy body start getting kind of wily, I call it synergy energy, where the whole class is or alternatively, they're falling asleep, you might be thinking about movement outside. Could be a really effective intervention. So, and what they do outside is really, really important. So we've gotten to a point where we're very safe. Everything on your playground was really safe, except I could see more observance of the scene. I'm inventing that. 97% of your accidents happen because of inadequate servicing, right? So you actually need, under swings, 8 inches of observant servicing. Under regular playground equipment, 6 inches. So that's bark mulch or pea gravel or something, right? So framing areas around swings and putting in adequate, absorbent stuff is going to help, with the accident thing. So, here I've just given you this little piece of information that could dramatically change, accidents on the playground. But what we're doing is we're removing things. Oh, good, get rid of that merry-go-round. Just, fall over it. And let's, I like your swings. Your swings are the old high ones, which are great. A lot of times we've gotten rid of the swings. Many communities I go to, there's no swings, right? Why are there no swings? Because kids love swings. It's like their favorite thing. When I say to them, I'll do the tech talk, and they'll say, so you guys need any more outdoorsy stuff. What would you like outside on your playground? That would keep you off the screen. So if you want to go outside, swings, right? So you guys have them, that's great. You have 2 sets, right? So we have to reassess the risk, because risk is actually important for the brain, the developing brain. So there's studies, and they're profiled in this video clip. The last bullet there says no rural schools. If you Google that, you get a 30-minute video clip of a principal in New Zealand who worked with their university there, who was doing research on risk. So what he did is he created, and I'm not saying you guys do this, I'm just throwing it out there. There's a spectrum of ideas here, right? So he created what he called a no-rule school, and he started this because there was a construction site next to the school, had a bunch of stuff on it. It was abandoned construction site. Kids kept going there. He kept going out there and going, don't go very good fence. They crawl under the fence, over the fence. They really wanted to get there. Right? So then he kind of thought, what am I doing? So he talked to his staff. They came up with this idea that there wouldn't be any rules out on the playground, right? Other than don't kill each other and if somebody says no, respect the no or whatever, they had a few rules. But basically they opened up that area, allowed them to go out there, allowed them to climb trees. Why didn't you trees? Oh my gosh. And allowed them to do pretty much anything they wanted. And so this video clip is really interesting. It's a newscaster person walking around the principal who's talking, about it. So back to Peter McKay, the principal of Quebec, who created the Rough House Zone, just thinking about the advantages of allowing a little bit of risk. Kids love challenge. At 7 to 12-year-olds, they really want to be challenged. How can we give them something that challenges them, but that's not, we want to minimize harm, obviously. I'm not saying to just, pull off the brakes here, but I think we need to reassess this whole area because of the immense amount of benefit that kids get. It lowers anxiety. Risk lowers anxiety. Think about that. If I'm a highly anxious person, it's usually because my parents are fairly, don't do that, it might get hurt, you might get hurt, oh, I might get hurt. Right? And so if we allow that kid to explore risk, to try fine, but they're not going to, hurt themselves. That's going to directly deal with that anxiety state. So Stuart Brown wrote a book called Play. He's a play researcher, he's a doctor, who is very interested in what happens when you don't play as a kid. What happens when you don't build things, you're not exposed to risk. You're mollycoddled and bubble wrapped and helicopter parented. And what he found was that's what our prisons are full of. So he did some really interesting play histories. He went into penitentiary, he did play histories, found they didn't have one. They didn't really ever play. And they also never built things with their hands. So these things are really important. So when you start thinking of building forts out of the playground, building, taking all those bricks and putting them together and building the chimney or something, we're this little 6-year-old last week, or it was the week before, and this kid had so much energy. He was vibrating with energy. And of course, in the classroom, this wasn't working well, right? And he was running, momentum was his friend. He just plow through, an area and knock kids over, and knock chairs over, and knock tables over, and, he just had a lot of energy. The energy is very interesting because that kid 100 years ago would be extremely functional in whatever society that child was a part of. A tribal society, a farming society. This kid could climb like you wouldn't believe. He climbed everything. He was climbing up in the windowsills, climbing up on top of the art table. He was a climber. And so I took him to the fitness center, which is the high school fitness center, right? Put him on the treadmill, jacked up the treadmill. This kid's running like crazy on the 10 rating on the incline, right? But running up this incline, he's got so much energy. So then I'm kind of like, the high school students came in and they had to leave, so I'm looking around, there's a pile of dirt, and there was a pile of bricks. And he was running up and down this pile of dirt, it was about this high, like an athlete, right? And then he saw the bricks, and he was like, I'm going to build a chicken, and he's taking these bricks, and he put them together so perfectly. How that one went up against that one, and that one went there, and that one, he was really adjusting these bricks and building this chimney on the top of this. Here's a little 6-year-old, he's hauling these great big bricks, right? So this is beautiful energy. This is not bad energy, it's just energy that doesn't fit with the classroom. So his protocol, when I did this report, was tough mud around first thing in the morning, 20 minutes off of the day, running through the trails, right? Get him going on the garden boxes, because this kid was completely dysfunctional in the classroom, but yet he was very smart. When I watched the bricklaying, I was like, there's a really smart brain, right? That's just not being allowed to kind of do what it needs to do. So there are many of our kids who aren't functioning well in the classroom, and we're trying to, I call it harness their energy, or we're trying to control them. And instead, think about how you can use that energy in different ways, right? How can we bring in some of these components and play, get them to build things, right? So they ended up identifying that there's this gardener guy, I can't remember his name, Tim something, and that Tim needed to clean out the greenhouse, and there was a lot of heavy clay pots that needed to get moved. I'm like, this kid's right in there, like a dirty shirt, digging in the thing, building trails, pulling roots out of, garden things. So we want to think of purposefulness. That's number one with play. I'm sorry, I'm going against what I'm saying here. But what Stuart Brown found was that the 7 components of play is that they have to be purposeless, right? There needs to be no purpose. But for some of those kids, they actually need a purpose. He needed a project. That's what he needed. So I just threw this one in here again just to kind of read, but I already talked about it here. Really listen to that CDC thing. And look at kind of the risk issue, right? Is we do want to minimize risk, but if we eliminate risk, absolutely go for a risk-free playground, we're going to be really using something. So this is, I bring forward this Canadian Standards Association as an awesome resource. When we want to really look at creating a safe playground, they have standards standards. So that's where I came up with that 6 inches surrounded and 8 inches surrounded the swings. They have very, very defined standards. So if you have a parent on the pack who's very safety conscious, get them on this, because the Canadian standard, I printed it off. It's about 3 inches, right? There's a lot of data there, but it's really good. Things like when you're organizing your playground, you want to put the swings like away from the major traffic, zones and that kind of thing. Like don't have kids running through. You want to mark out the swings with some railroad ties and then backfill it with absorbent surfacing. Really great ideas. And the other stuff too, according to research, is that if we train the kids on the playground, so we have once a year, twice a year, we have a PE teacher that goes out there and goes, okay, when you're climbing the cargo net or the slides or whatever, you have to have, and a fireman taught me this. But I was about 10, I got way up in the tree. And my dad was away and my mother was like, come down. And I was stuck up there, right? Anyway, this fireman climbed up on his ladder as far as he could, but I was way up. And he said, I'm going to walk you down. I'm going to talk you down, walk you down. You have to have 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand on at all time. Okay, got that? 3 of your limbs have to be holding onto the tree. And then he'd say, because now I want you to take your right foot, your right foot, down too, and put it down on the next branch. You don't let go of your hands, right? Anyway, I remember that to this day. So we have to create rules that, we're going to keep our kids safe. Yes, we're stopping right now. And, we are at work here. Okay, perfect. We were talking about doing 5 minutes at the end of each section for
Maybe it's the beginning of the next session, so we can process all of this, and then we'll start with a quick little Q&A period. And then we are starting back here at 1 o'clock.
So 1 to 2, we're going to do research, and then we're going to get into all that introductions after that.